Hello guys, welcome to a live video guide. I'm out in the woods, out in the forest. Looks like we're live. I'm out here with my dog and I've got a whole bunch of crafting materials here. Looks like live, excuse my wonky camera work. Looks good. Guys, if you're in here, let me know. I think I've got connection. I'm out in the forest in imposed isolation. Hey Eben, hey Wilbo, how you doing guys? So I've thought I've come out to the forest. I'm going to show you guys some of the techniques I use to craft ghillie suits. I'm going to show you some of the materials I use, some of the equipment I use to maybe make things a little bit easier for you, and yeah, get really down close into the techniques that I use and just show you guys some of the secrets really. I'm out here in the KMCS suit obviously, but I'm not going to be crafting a whole suit today because it's a live stream. We haven't got a huge amount of time, so what I think I'm going to do, let's see if I can spin this camera around. Hey, good to see all you guys in here. Let's spin this camera around. Can I spin this around? There we go. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this pair of binoculars and I'm going to use this as the example of how I build a ghillie suit. Now the techniques I'm going to be using to conceal this this set of binoculars is going to be exactly the same techniques, the same equipment that I would use to build a ghillie suit from scratch or conceal weapons or guns. Yeah, so it's the same techniques, but for the purpose of this live stream, it's going to be easier if we're going to be working on these. Because obviously they're quite a small item, and we should be able to get it done in hopefully maybe half an hour or so. Now, to conceal this, we're not going to use any spray paint or camo tape. What I'm going to be using, a sheet of KMCS mesh. Now, although this is the Kicking Mustang concealment system mesh, which is going to be available to buy in the next 2-3 weeks maybe, depending how long this quarantine slows things down, but you don't have to use this. You could use anything. It could be you could use old mesh material, you could use old if you've got an old leaf suit that's all shredded, you could use that. You could use perhaps brown or cotton t-shirt, or you could use camouflage, an old camouflage shirt or material. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to be using this KMCS mesh. The reason the features of the KMCS mesh that I like, which you may not find so easily in other material, is a little close-up. Although it's very, very strong, obviously, it's got these small holes in, which allows us to use one of the most important tools that I use for crafting ghillie suits, which is these things here. These are micro cable ties. Very, very small. Now, there used to be some smaller ones. These ones are 2.5mm size. They're brown, 2.5mm. Years ago, there used to be even smaller ones. There used to be 1.5mm that I could find. I haven't been able to find any smaller than this at the moment. These are 1.5mm cable ties. Other products you're going to need to craft this is raffia. This is just bog standard raffia. You can find this on eBay or Amazon or in crafting shops. What I have done with this though, I haven't got any raw raffia. This has been slightly treated. Now, people use different techniques to treat it differently. Some people soak it in coffee. Some people dye it using various different types of dye. Other people use ink. Personally, I use brown spray paint, and the way I would get the Krylon, the raffia, and I would literally get the spray paint and dust it until you get it the texture and the color you need. Now let's spin this camera. I'll show you how realistic this can get. Let's spin this camera around so you can see how, like in this environment, this time of year, it may even be a little too light, but you can see this is the raffia. Here we got the twigs. There's some natural twigs over there. You see those twigs over there are starting to get much closer. So depending on the kind of environment you are, you might want to add a bit more brown, bit more brown paint, which is what I use, or just use dye that other people use. But it needs some experimenting, and just it's very, very cheap. So have a play with yourself. Get your raffia out into the natural environment and see whether it matches up with the kind of twigs and grass you will have. It doesn't have to be an exact match. It just has to look natural. And we're not going to use loads of this raffia. This raffia is mostly going to be used for tying the Ghillie crafting materials onto it. Now, the Ghillie crafting materials that I'm going to be using, I'll catch up with you guys' questions in a bit. Let me just go through this intro, and then I'll move on to your questions. One of the pieces of material what I would tend to use is these KMCS crafting leaves. Now, these are available to buy. You don't have to use KMCS crafting leaves. These are what I consider to be the best. They are IRR invisible to infrared. They're very strong. They're incredibly natural colors as well. Now, if you're using other kind of leaf material, you can craft them yourselves. These are something else I use. These are very cheap maple leaf. You can buy these. These are made in China. They are very, very cheap to buy. You can pay just a small amount of money, like a few pounds or a few dollars, and you will receive 200-300, maybe more of these for a very small amount of money. They don't come in this color though. You have to dye them. Now, to dye these, there is a process I go through. I would put a whole bunch of these leaves into a washing machine and clean. Yeah, exactly. Wilbur says China, no thanks. Exactly. You're better off buying KMCS from Europe, away from China. China-made stuff, you may or may not want to use China, but these are from China. Now, to craft them, to get them to this color and to get them to this natural shade, spin this camera and do a closer look, you can see they're quite a natural color. To get them to this stage, I wash them in washing machine, I put them through a tumble dryer, it really softens them up, and then I use acrylic ink to get them this color. And if you want more information about how to craft these leaves cheaply, en masse, and make your own, you can join the Sniper Ops group on Facebook, which is facebook.com/groups/Sniper Operations. I'll put a link in a pinned comment at the end of this video when I get back, and I'll sort out all the links and everything. But if you need information about that, join the Sniper Ops group on Facebook. So you can do it cheaply, or you can purchase the KMCS leaf strips. Other material I'm going to be using. Danny's never seen my face. You've seen it now, my friend. Hello. Other material I'm going to be using there's something a little bit different I've not used much before, is this stuff here. It looks like old rope because it pretty much is old rope. It is, it's called coconut rope. It's made from coconut fibers. But when you buy it, the colors are, it's okay, but like the raffia, you have to do a process to dye it. You can either use, dye it using fabric dyes, or you could use acrylic paint, or like what I used earlier, you can use, where's it gone? You can get the Krylon brown or spray paint out. But the thing, Eben says this is quite thick. It is quite thick, but you can get the colors quite natural by, like we did earlier, spraying a bit of paint on to get the right colors. Now, you say it's quite thick, but look at it. Look at it next to those branches. Let's cut a bit. It's pretty tough stuff as well. So cut it to this sort of size. Now look at it over here. Look at it next to these twigs. So someone just said in the comments that it's too thick, but doesn't that look like a really natural twig shape? So we might try to utilize a piece of this coconut rope. Other materials that we can use. This might surprise some of you guys. Look at this stuff. What's this? These are pheasant hen feathers. I love feathers. This was several years ago when I first really got into ghillie suit crafting. I stumbled across when I was out sneaking a pheasant on the floor, and it was just like practically invisible. These colours are so natural and very, very good at blending in the environment that you play in. And what they are, they're also very lightweight. They're waterproof, so they don't get heavy, and they add depth, and they can break up outlines. So once you start adding these onto your items, onto your webbing, or as we're going to do today, onto these binoculars, it can create distortions. And like when you see out here, you've got the random twig shapes, and you don't just get uniform shapes. Everything gets broken up with lines and chops, and that is what you can use these feathers for. I'll show you how to use these. 2 or 3 other items we're going to be using. Perhaps we'll use a little bit of this. This is Hessian, used more traditionally on traditional ghillie suit builds. This one I've dyed with, I've had this quite a few years. I can't remember when I dyed this. I think it might have been Rit dye or something. This is just a green dyed Hessian. I'm probably just going to be using this for tying, not necessarily for the actual concealment. I'm going to use it more for tying, like the raffia. There's another item that I use. These things here. These are called sneaky leaves. Now, these are quite tricky to get hold of. People into leaf suit crafting will know about these. They stopped manufacture of these a few years ago. They're tricky to get hold of, but they're very, very good. My dog's climbing around. They have, they add depth and they add texture, and they're also very, very good colors. They're easy to attach and they can quickly be swapped around. So that's one material. And then the two more pieces of material we're going to be using today. One of them is just cotton. Now this is just brown cotton. Now the way you can use this stuff is you can just cut pieces of it. And then this is really cheap to buy. This is a really good alternative to perhaps more expensive KMCS leaves or sneaky leaves. And you literally just take this cotton, and you can either scrunch it up in a bit of water or chew it. That's it, bias cotton. Southpaw said it's bias cotton. That's what it's called. So if you search bias cotton on eBay, I chew it up a little bit, scrunch it up, and then apply that like this. And then you can see, let's spin this around. This is really, really effective, actually. It's really good stuff. So let's put it down on the ground. So that's just that cotton next to some leaves. You see, look at that. How similar is this cotton compared to these leaves? Just go back 10 inches and it's vanished, isn't it? There it is. So that's bias cotton. I chew it up, and then we can apply some of that. There we go. Right, let's spin this camera back around. Okay, now there's one more piece of equipment we're going to be using, one more material. This is this stuff here. This stuff is available from Skirm Shop. Now it looks like just normal mesh, and it is just, it's a mesh, but it's been treated with a dye and some sort of paint. And what it does, it just has an incredibly natural reaction to light, and it's called Halo Screen, and it's available from Skirm Shop. You buy it in big sheets, but when it's applied, you can see, if I just hold it back here, even just a crunched up ball here, you start to see what a natural color that is and how it reacts to the light, even in that scrunched up ball here, moving it between the shadows and the light. That's in the light, that's in the sunshine there. If I move it into the shadow down here, there, that's the shadow down there. You see how it changes from light to dark, light in the shadow, up in the shadow up here. So this stuff is called Halo Screen, really good. It's not cheap, but it is effective. So if you just joined the live stream, what we're doing today is I'm showing you guys, first we've gone through the materials. I'm now going to show you some of the techniques we use to apply it. Then once we've gone through the techniques, we're going to apply it to this pair of binoculars. Obviously, they're black. What we want to do is make them completely invisible so we can use those without giving our position away. Okay. I'm out in the forest here. I can hear some people there. They shouldn't be in this forest. I've just heard some people over there. I wonder what they're up to. Hopefully my dog doesn't go and sniff them out. Blondie, come here. Come here. Blondie, come here. Blondie, stay here. We've got to stay here and be quiet. There's people here. Come. I don't want them to disturb the live stream. Come here. Come and sit down here. Come here. Lie down here. Lie down there. Good girl. Lie down there. Stay there. Good girl. Shh. Tony, no mate, we're not doing airsoft, we're doing ghillie crafting. So, what we're going to use now is we're going to take this piece of KMCS crafting mesh. This is going to be the base for how we're going to ghillie up these binoculars. And so the plan is to craft this material. I'm going to show you the techniques that we use to apply the, yeah, I should ping him. Oh, Bear's back at home. She didn't want to come out. She was feeling really lazy. We're going to take this material. I'm going to switch the camera around. I'm going to zoom down. And I'm going to show you how we use the raffia, the cable ties, maybe some hessian to apply some of these materials. And we're going to try and match this material up as closely as we can to the ground and environment around us. So let's get to work. Okay, let's figure out. I'm going to put this camera down. I'll use this knife, I think, to set the camera up. Let's put this knife down here. Okay. Let's spin this camera around. Just try and get this down here. You'll have to excuse my amateur camera work, guys. Okay. That's looking good. Let's check the camera angle here. Let's put these binoculars down here as well. Okay, how's that angle, guys? Is that okay? Okay, so the mesh is here. Just checking the camera. Okay, here we go. Sorry, Blondie. Right, the first thing we're going to be using is these cable ties. We're also going to be using raffia. We're going to be using a little bit of this green hessian. And what we've got here is a tool here. This is a boule needle, or bolle needle. And this bolle needle we can use, so get the close up for you guys. This is a bolle needle. Now this needle can be used for threading raffia and hessian through the holes in the mesh. So let's show you an example here. So let's take the boule needle. You thread that through there. Boule needle through here. We've then got a piece of raffia. We're going to thread that like this. Thread the raffia through here. And let's just put it through. There's no tying, it's just a loop and a pull through here. So here we go. There's the raffia. Now we can use that for tying. And what we could tie on there, where's that piece of cotton we had earlier? I've lost it, so we can cut another piece of cotton here. The bias cotton. Take this, going to chew it up. So it's a little bit chewing. Crunch that up. Now, you could stick it. You could use shoe glue to stick it, but I'm going to tie this. Just like that. You could double knot it if you wanted to. Like that. So that's one technique we can use. Another technique we can use is to use the cable ties. And the cable ties can be used for pretty much anything. So the cable ties, like the raffia, they're a little bit easier to get to use. You just put them, just check on the camera, you just thread it through the hole there, like this. And then you've got a way of attaching material. So let's attach a piece of the halo screen. So with the halo screen, to apply this, I'm just going to roughly, and I really do mean rough, it's like just a hacking shape, like so. And then I'm going to twist it like this. Scrunch it up like this, so it looks like a natural leaf shape. Put the cable tie, put the cable tie loop round, pop that in there, just bring that out a bit, there we go. So it looks like a little bud. I'm going to use some clippers to clip off the cable tie. And there we have one of the buds starting to form up. What else are we going to add on? Let's add on, should we try some of that? Some of this rope, see how that looks. What I would like to do is probably add a few more buds of the halo screen first. So I'm going to cut a few of these out. Hopefully you guys can see. It's difficult for me to see the camera. I think I'm doing okay. Halo screen, cable tie. I'll put this one in and then I'll go and check your questions, guys, and we can move on from there. And twisting this material up. So, nice and tight. Clippers. Like that. Okay, let me come round and check these questions. There you guys. Okay, let's see what's going on here. It's going to be scroll back. Pobs asked, how often do I change my suit? It depends, normally with the seasons. So I will, like at the start of the spring now, I'll be crafting a suit for springtime and change that's time of season. As summer comes, I'll change the kind of greens. You can see here these leaves starting to, oh no, it's a different tree, but the leaves this time of year, as they start to sprout, are really bright, vivid green, very vivid green. But in summer they become darker, and in winter the greens again get really dark. And obviously you add more brown leaves depending on the season. How often do I change my suits? With the season, my friend. So I've probably got three or four suits. Matty Prince is asking, where do we get the halo screen? From a Skirm shop in Holland. The halo screen is really good. It's not cheap. There are cheaper ways of doing it. A lot of guys are using what's the mesh called? There's a kind of mesh that's what's it called again? I've forgotten the name of the mesh. I've forgotten the name of the mesh. It's not as good as the halo screen because it's not treated the same way, but it has almost as good effect. Wilbur asked one, who's Harry Potter's cloak? Good question. So Eden says, do you change the suit every season to fit? Yeah, basically I change it every season. Richard says he loves the videos, keep me going. Isolation. Thank you, my friend. Glad to hear that. Just scanning these questions, guys. It's the thing about the questions on YouTube are kind of harder to see on here than they are on Instagram. I do quite a lot of live streams on Instagram if you guys don't follow me on there. So I think I'm gonna stop scrolling these questions because I'm gonna get back to crafting, because there's a bunch of comments, but not Tule mesh. That's the stuff. Tule mesh. Sazkes asked, how do I wash my suits after games? I don't wash your suits, guys. If you've got a ghillie suit, don't wash it, especially not the KMCS. Now, it may lose some of its IRR properties if you do that. So don't wash, and the muddier it gets, the better. Right, shall we spin this camera around and do a bit more crafting? Do a couple more bits of crafting and then spin this camera back around. How's the angle for you guys? You guys can see what I'm doing here, can't you? Okay, sweet. Right, let's get back down here. Let's add on, let's use a bit of KMCS crafting leaves. Depending on the area you're playing or the time of year will determine how many of these you may want to add or not add. I haven't got any shoe goo. If I was adding these separately, I would probably use shoe goo and fold them, but we're going to I'll use the same technique as I used on the Halo screen. We're going to use, I'm not sure where my dog has gone. Blondie! Cable tie through the mesh. Blondie! Here she comes. Don't go far. Come back here. Threading it like this. Exactly the same technique. So it's kind of a twist and a tuck, and then a twist, tuck, and tighten. Pull that on. Clippers. Like that. So we're starting to take some shape here, aren't we? Let's add a little bit more raffia onto this. I quite like this piece. I might actually tie that raffia around that cable tie. So where that's attached to the material, I'm just going to tie that raffia around there. Just adding a little bit of depth. Just like that. Okay, what other material are we going to use? We're going to have a look at that coconut rope, weren't we? The coconut rope, I'll tell you what, it's so good, I have mislaid it. I put it down somewhere. Can't see it. So let's cut another piece. Here's the coconut rope. I have put my knife on is being used to hold the phone. Cut it with scissors. It's tough, that stuff. I'm just going to use a little bit of this Krylon paint. I don't want to do it. I'll do it down here. You should be able to see it. So I'm just thinking that's going to match like a twig or a branch, and we'll use the same technique. I'm thinking about how it's going to attach on the binoculars. Let's put it down here. Cable tie again. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've used this coconut rope. And actually, that's not true. I've used it before and I wasn't 100% happy with it. But I'm going to try it again. You can do things with it. You can untwine it but we're starting to get there. I think I'll add a little bit more halo screen. Let's add, I've actually got a piece here pre-done. There's a piece pre-cut, I'll use that. Again, these are exact, even though it's on a small piece of material and it's being used to cover up a piece of equipment, these are the same techniques that I would use on building ghillie suits or masks. And the only thing I haven't brought out with me, which was a bit short-sighted of me, was I forgot to bring shoe goo. I've got an extra cable tie there, I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so now hopefully you can start to see how this is starting to take shape. Let's add just a little bit more raffia. And we'll use the threading tool. I'm going to use this thing here, which is the boulet needle. I think fishermen use it for making flies and things. You know what fly fishermen use? I think they use that for doing that. I think. Not done this one very well. Hopefully you guys can still see. There we go, pull that through. Just tie a knot in that. Raffia it ties really easily. Once you've got it tied in a knot, it stays tied. Oops. Hopefully that'll stay on. Getting there. And right, what we're going to do here, let's just see how it's matching up before we then apply this material to the binoculars. Now to apply this to the binoculars, I think, again, we're going to use cable ties. And these, when you buy these cable ties, they are not particularly long. So what you can do to lengthen them is you thread one into the other, like that. And then they're longer. Now, hopefully, just double check you can see that, hopefully on these binoculars. We're going to put the one material on one side. If that's, hopefully that cable tie is long enough, just about. Not quite long enough. So we'll add another cable tie. One side. Now it doesn't matter that it's over the front of the binoculars to start with. We'll end up, we can cut that to shape. I was going to record this, guys. I was going to record all this as a vlog and edit it, but then, to be honest, I thought, sod it, I'll just press the live button. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. and at least finding it interesting. Okay. That's on there, let's clip that off. Clip those off. One thing, you don't have to clip those cable ties. Where they're hanging, you can actually use these cable ties to attach leaves to add depth. To do that, you put glue on there and stick it. I haven't brought any glue out with me, unfortunately, so I can't show you how that works, so we're just going to clip those off for the time being. And, okay, so that's those two there. Another thing I might do, rather than cutting this, if I had shoe glue with me, I haven't got the shoe glue foolishly, I'd probably fold that back and I'd probably glue that back there. Okay, I'll leave that there. This part here, what we might do, in hindsight, I'd probably use a slightly bigger piece of material and have it dangling down, but I think it's okay. We're going to need, have I brought any elastic out with me? I haven't brought any elastic out with me, but what I do have is, I haven't got any elastic bands, that's no good. I would have put elastic band around here to hold it on. Let's use cable ties again. And we can use cable tie to thread through there. We can actually thread the cable tie through the mesh and then around the mesh the other side. Like so. And we'll do the same on the other side. Thread, cable tie through that mesh, out the other side, around, twist it around. Now here's one technique that I use, and I'm always conscious of this when I'm applying materials to my suits or equipment. You don't want to have it sat flat, so you don't want it flat like this often. I will like to ripple it, so I will ripple it like this, making sure there's depth, and I'm always looking to add that depth by rippling. Now whether that's a small piece of cotton, whether it's the mesh that I'm applying here, or whether it's leaves, I'm always thinking about adding depth to make it as three-dimensional as possible. Okay, here we go. It's starting to take shape, isn't it? It's starting to take shape. Hopefully you guys can see. Let's maybe pop back over. Hopefully you've seen how it's starting to form up. Obviously this is quite close up. We've got the black strap as well. I'm not happy about the black strap. And you can start to see how we're starting to take shape. Now, I'm going to spin this back around. I'm going to see whether there's any questions from you guys. It's difficult, as I said, it's difficult to keep up with the questions on YouTube. Scanning up. If you guys had questions further up the stream, maybe you want to ask me now while I'm at the camera and I'm watching. I'm just scrolling up a little bit. Don't see anyone's making binocular jokes. My dog's coming for a sniff. Okay. Richard's asked if there's a schedule for these streams. Not really, mate. As I came in here to record footage. I was going to make a vlog and I thought, no, I'm going to press the live button. Why not? I kind of enjoy it. Not sure whether it's the right thing to do on YouTube. It does do funny things, but hey, I don't know. I like speaking to you guys, so let's do it. Okay, let's spin it back around. So what I'm doing now, so we got the binoculars here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pick the camera up. And what I want to do, if my dog lets me, I'm going to put the binoculars down over here and take a step back. Whoops, I'm trying not to trip over a log. Now, so I'm looking at it from a distance, looking at it in the natural environment, thinking about how it looks in different angles. We're going to move it into different light as well. But we are literally, what are we, 3 meters away from them here. You can see the strap of the binoculars. But it's not bad, is it? It's not the prettiest thing. We've done it in quite a short space of time. Now, can you see why this coconut rope is interesting? Someone said it's too thick. Look at these branches though. Look at the difference. Shall we add another coconut rope to it? That coconut rope's not bad, is it? It's not bad at all. So here's the other, someone's just made a good point here about the lenses, right? So here's the other thing. We can see the lenses, can't we, here? We can see the strap. So what we could do, we could look at perhaps concealing these lenses. Like what I do on my sniper scope, you could perhaps reduce it to a slit. You could cover it with some mesh and perhaps cut slits in it to reduce it. They're not the biggest things in the world, are they? Let's be honest. It's not the biggest thing. You've got black blobs here and here, and nobody's really going to take a huge amount of notice of that. So I'm not going to go over that. And you could cover the glint as well. So you're right. These lenses could cause problems with the glint and the sun. It could cause problems, but I'm reasonably happy with that. Now these techniques, I'm going to add one more piece of this rope to it as well, I think. Let's spin the camera back around. Let's spin this camera back around. You guys will have to excuse this amateur camera work. Let's take a bit more of this rope. I think I want to use another bit. I actually quite like this now, seeing this in the natural environment. Let's take another piece of this. Now, what I'm going to do here, when I get this stuff, I'll spin this camera back around. When I get this rope, I would put it up to and compare it to these twigs. It's not bad, is it? But I think it could be maybe there's a little bit of tan missing. There might be a little bit of tan missing there. So let's put it down on the ground. Let's get a little bit of, that's the brown. I think I've got some tan paint somewhere. Move out of the way, Blondie. There we go. This is tan paint. Let's see whether we can get it matching that branch. So maybe just a little bit of, obviously I sprayed the branch there. That's getting better, isn't it? That's a better match. Not bad. A little bit more of that. So take a step back. See, okay. That's not bad. Let's take this. We're gonna, shall we add this to there? Mika says maybe not a noticeable difference on camera, but I do think to my eye there's no. Yeah, there we go. I like it. So let's attach that there. To attach that, we're gonna use cable ties. Again, guys who are just joining, if you want to know, if you've only just and you want to know the techniques that I'm using, obviously you can rewind the video. It's going to be on YouTube forever. So let's thread this cable tie through here. Take this here. Get the clippers. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm quite happy with that. So, again, this is something that, let me just get this camera off the stand without pressing the button to shut you guys down. Don't want to do that. Now, JTH 1.5 doesn't do the same material with mud. I absolutely do. Mud is amazing. We can all spend ages crafting this stuff and using paint and dyes, but the best thing to do, I think, is even with the KMCS, what I tend to do on a muddy day, a winter day, I just dunk it in mud, and that's one of the best things to do. Just looking at these binoculars, I like them. They're not bad. Let's move it to another location. Let's head over here. Let's put it down over here. Spin it back around. Adam's asking what cam I use on my Mark 23. Again, very, very similar techniques. Same materials, really. Very, very similar. Not as much, but my dog loves getting in the camera. Go away. Blondie, go away. They don't want to see you. They want to look at the binoculars. Go away. Come on, go away. Shoot. Let's put it on that branch there. The base mesh really helps. So often people have a mesh that's too dark, and when the mesh is too dark, it ends up silhouetting. So yeah, they're the binoculars. Let's see how they work. Let's put the camera facing me. I'm gonna put the camera down here, and let's see what they look like when they're being used. Let's see if I can put this, lean this camera against this. Come on, leaf. Bush is going to hold you up. And the black strap is no good. If I was taking these out, I would always get rid of black. The black strap is no good at all. But the actual camouflage is good. They work. Can I still operate? What I might need to do, can I get my finger underneath? I might need to modify this or get a knife and just cut a little slit here so I can access the focus. I can do it through the mesh, but I might need to just cut a little bit to access the mesh, access the focus. But yeah, very nice. Another thing I would perhaps do, if I was doing this again, looking back, this is the first time I've concealed these binoculars. If I was going to do it again, or if I take them back when I get a time, I might actually extend these mesh either side. So perhaps I can get my hands under there and then maybe have an area like on the KMCS Balaclava. On the KMCS Balaclava, we've got, I haven't got it with me, there's a beard that hangs down, because if you don't have a piece of material hanging down in front of you, you create a shadow. So when these binoculars are up here, it's going to create a shadow down here. So at a distance, you're going to see this sort of darker blob. So what I might do is have, if I have a piece of like a binocular beard. So the binocular would have material goes down here, and then the material might hang down here. And when they're not being used or in the case, I would then fold the material around these binoculars and put them away. When I get it out, rather than have this dangly strap, it would have this beard that hangs down. So when I've got them in front of my face, it would have this beard that hangs down, a ghillie beard exactly like this thing, to help conceal that shadow. So yeah, I'm quite happy with these. Quite happy with these. I can see well. Lovely. And Wilbur says put camo on the strap. I can do, or just put, maybe I'll probably need to get a better strap rather than camo in the strap. It's the original Zeiss strap, so I quite like to keep it, but I would probably take this strap off and replace it with maybe paracord or something that's not. It's just not. It's not a great strap. It's just too black, really, and yeah. See if you guys got any questions. Howard says he loves me so much. Thank you, mate. I love you back, my friend. Why says, can I cut the strap? No, I can't. It's they're vintage binoculars, so I can't cut the strap on those. I'll just remove the strap, and I'll remove the strap and change it for a different one. Atlas is saying light reflects off the lens. It does. With mesh over the front of the lens, you may lose a bit of image. It depends how serious you are. It's not a bad tip to cover that up, but you'll reduce some of your image clarity. But what you could perhaps do is do like what I do on my sniper scope. If you look at my videos, there is, I put mesh over the front and then I'll cut a star in it and make a sort of a jagged hole, which does help. How would the KMCS suit fit with Ghillie jute? You would tie it. You could do that. What I've got, Daniel, is there is a KMCS crafting suit. It's much cheaper than the full KMCS and it doesn't have the leaves on. You can buy it, which is just the mesh. So at the start of this video, there are suits that are made entirely out of just the mesh with no leaves, and then you can use that as a base. If you want to make a grass suit, I would probably go for raffia though instead of jute. I much prefer raffia. It doesn't tangle as much, it's lighter, and I think it's a bit more of a realistic texture and colour to jute. Not as good for attaching natural veg. Jute is really good for attaching natural veg. So Atlas has got a pair of binoculars he wants to camouflage. Mate, I think if you're out and about and you're just sneaking about doing some concealment work and wildlife photography, I think it's great. I think you should do it. Eric wants the dog to be the channel operator. Blonde. What can you smell? I heard something over there as well. I think I heard a deer or something over there. I think she felt it as well. Nice scope from Germany. Good to see you, my friend. Jaggers Airsoft said he wants to buy a Flecton coat. A lot of different fake plants, brand stuff you are using and attach it. Go for it. The coats have tiny holes like your stuff. It's an assaulter kit. Do you have any tips? Just what I'm showing you this video, my friend. Just the techniques I've used on these binoculars. You can use them on your entire suit. Biggs is this going to be saved on the channel? Will be. It will be. Nicholas says, when's the Ghillie suit going to come back in stock? I think there should be stock at the moment, my friend. I think we've got stock in at Skirm Shop. If you go to skirmshop.nl, there should be brown suits. The green suits are sold out. New stock of green suit. Oh, new KMCS, the green KMCS leads. I think we may have sold out the green KMCS leads, but there should be some more on the way. Just checking these questions. How do I stay calm when people don't cool their heads? That's a good question. I used to get quite, to be honest with you, my friend, I used to get quite peeved off years ago. And then when I started, in 2015, I was starting to get a bit grumpy about airsoft. Like, it's just I wasn't getting the satisfaction I used to out of it. And then I began recording. And the biggest thing that I learned from recording my scope, which was really in 2017, the biggest thing I really learned when I started recording my scope in high quality was that half the time when I thought I'd hit somebody, I actually hadn't hit them. And that changed my perspective quite a lot. When you watch it back in high definition when you get home, that changed my perspective. Now, if I'm 100% sure, I just shoot them in the head. that's it. If they don't take the first hit, I shoot them in the head. Or if there's a game day, you know, I just aim high. And the other thing, of course, is if someone's taking the hits, I just turn them into a thumbnail. And hopefully it helps the video, because everyone, look, as much as we hate cheaters, everyone loves to watch cheaters looking stupid, don't they? So yeah, I'm kind of a little bit sanguine these days. If people cheat, I don't presume they're cheating until I get home and see them on camera, and then I turn them into a thumbnail. You know what I mean? So that's why I stay, yeah, pretty chilled. What was that, a golf ball? That was a classic. Nicholas, how do you make a bad ghillie suit better? Start again, my friend. Often the base is really important. Like if you get like the KMCS mesh, get a base that matches the environment. Like where we're playing at, when the environment I'm in at the moment, let's spin this camera around. You can see it's actually quite light colours. Look at these colours here. You've got to get the colours right, and that's why. Look at these colours, how they match this mesh of the binocular that I used. Look at how the colours are the most important thing. Look at those colours, how they match that. Look at that halo screen. Look, they're leaves. See those leaves? That's the halo screen. Leaves, 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 halo screen. This is why the colour is so important. Leaves, leaves, halo screen. See? And there's the KMCS mesh. That's a KMCS suit. See how important it is to get the base mesh colours right. After that, then you can start adding texture, the twigs, the raffia. So the most important thing is to start off with a good base colour, in my opinion. If you've got the right base colour, you don't even need a really good pattern. The right base colour is the most important one. Howard says, get the pirate cannon, is that for dealing with cheaters? Yeah, the pirate cannon rocks, doesn't it? Daniel says, how would you repair a rip in the knee of a ghillie suit? Easy. You need to get, you can use any material. I would say you can go and buy the new KMCS mesh that's going to be available in the next couple of weeks, and then you can use that to repair it, or you can just use cotton or old camo shirts, just an old cotton or old clothing or old trousers. And where you've got a rip in your knee, let's say you've got a rip in your knee here, you would cut the material to shape, and Blondie, go away, go away, go away. You'd cut the material to shape where the hole is. Let's say this piece of elastic was a rip and you wanted to repair it. You would just get a piece of material, cut it to shape. You'd get something called shoe goo, which I haven't brought out with me, unfortunately. And you would just put shoe goo around here and you would slap it on and stick it on. That's it, really. So a Chinese person just sent me some money. Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate that. It says, wear a mask and take care. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Thank you, my friend. Wolf says, cute dog. Thanks, bro. Blondie, I think you're... Sit. Blondie, sit. Sit. There's nothing down there. Sit. Sit down. Sit. Okay, it's too prickly bottom. Sasha, how do you attach camo to the clothes? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I would use the same techniques I've used this video. So if you were... the only plus... Ooh, low battery. I would use the same techniques I use this video, so using cable ties or raffia. But what I would also do is shoe goo, and I would literally just stick it on. So I haven't got anything out. It's annoying I haven't got the shoe goo. I'd do that another time. What I might do is do another, maybe next week I'll do a live stream and show you guys the how I use glue, how I stick material, how I ripple it, and how I create depth in my suits. Yeah, so if you guys haven't got any more questions, we've been online for an hour. I just want to say thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate the time you spend watching my videos. I really appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys sharing the videos, of course, and liking and leaving comments. It really does mean a lot. I love hearing from you guys. If you liked this live stream, and you perhaps want to see more during this lockdown and the quarantine we're under, perhaps let me know in the comments in the video, and I'll do some more of these, maybe do one a week. If we go from binoculars, maybe I'll do a rifle wrap, or I'll actually, maybe I'll do a full suit. But the problem is with doing a full suit live, it's going to take so much time. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Maybe next week I'll get out my favourite guns, and maybe we should maybe I should do like the top 5 most pointless guns I've got, but the most fun guns. So maybe I'll do a live stream and we can come out here. I'll bring the guns out with me and we can set up some targets and we can do some shooting and go through some guns, do something like that, guys, because I like doing live streams. So yeah, let's do that, guys. I'm going to shoot off. Thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, love you guys. Have a great time. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye.